everyone! Today's video I'm going to be sharing my favorite reads of 2025, and this is the manga manhwa version. I'm going to have a separate video up soon that has my favorite novel reads of 2025, so that will include light novels, Japanese BL novels, KR novels, and danmei. So I'm hoping that video will be up pretty quickly after this one. I will have timestamps below if you want to skip between months, and then in the video description I'll have a list of all of the title names. But I'm going to jump right into it. So for January, my favorite read was What Did You Eat Yesterday, particularly volume 16. This is a seinen BL slice of life series that follows two men who are already in an established relationship. They've been living together and just following them as they go to work every day and then come home and cook meals and enjoy eating their meals together. This is one of my comfort series because I absolutely love the cooking and foodie elements of it, but then also I really like the two main characters. So, what did you eat yesterday? For February, I had two favorite reads. So first was Oshi no Ko. This one is also a seinen series and follows a set of twins who were raised around the entertainment industry, and a lot of the plot of the series is kind of murder mystery as well as revenge. And I just really enjoyed it. I binged the whole series in February. My favorite characters were Aqua and Gotanda. And then after reading the series, then I watched the anime and enjoyed that as well. And it actually was not really what I was expecting, just because I was thinking it was going to be just kind of a slice of life following two idols. But the plot is really gripping. And then my other favorite read of February was Love of Kill, Volume 14. This is one of my favorite series, and I was really happy that this epilogue volume got a print release. I had actually bought the Japanese volume when it released a year earlier and read it with a translator, but it was a really nice experience to get the English release and read the official translation. But Love of Kill is a josei series that follows an assassin and a bounty hunter who become entangled with each other after their paths cross a few times. And I just really love the character arcs and the plot twists as the story goes, and this final volume was just really fun, having a little past the conclusion of the main story, with a little bit of a time skip too to kind of show where things are at and what everyone is doing. So, Love of Kill. My favorite read of March was What's Wrong with Secretary Kim. This is an office romance manhwa series, and the series starts with the boss, who is very kind of arrogant and egotistical, being in distress because his secretary, who has been with him for years, who does an amazing job at everything, abruptly gives her notice to leave the company. And so during her final days of work, he's doing everything he can to keep her at the company, to change her mind. And as the story goes, we get little bits of flashbacks about their working relationship before that point, as well as some other things from their pasts that come back into play. But I really like this one. I thought it was just going to be comedy and romance, but as you get to know the characters, there are some sections that are really sad and just moving, with the plot line having a really interesting turn partway through. But this was one I also did a binge. The series is only 6 volumes, so I read all of it in March. In April, I had 2 favorite reads. First was My Dress Up Darling, Volume 13. This was a really exciting volume because I was really excited about this cosplay that Marin was doing. So My Dress Up Darling is a seinen slice of life high school romance series that has a lot of focus on cosplay, particularly preparing for cosplay events and making outfits and all of the effort that goes into it. And it follows this main character, Marin, as well as her high school classmate, Gojo. Marin is super outgoing, and Gojo is more introverted and loves to sew and craft, and they become a team as they're working together on several cosplays through the series. But like I said, this was a really exciting cosplay that I was really eager to see how it would go. So I really enjoyed this volume when it released in April. And then through the spring, I did a binge of Bleach, and I read a good chunk of it in April through the Soul Society arc and the Arancers arc. Kenpachi is my favorite character, so I wanted to use this volume cover. But Bleach was the last of the big three that I hadn't read yet. I had already read One Piece and Naruto, so I just was wanting to read Bleach as well, and I did enjoy it. So especially in April, I really liked the sections that I did read because the Arancers arc and the Soul Society arc were my favorite arcs of the series. But the series follows a high school boy who has an encounter with a Soul Reaper, and then from that encounter, he becomes entangled with a whole group of people that he didn't even know existed and has to work alongside them to protect the people that he cares about. I really like Ichigo's training arcs. I feel like it was really satisfying to see the work that he put into it to become more powerful rather than just overnight becoming powerful without effort. So enjoyed Bleach, and then I finished the rest of the series in May. My favorite read of May was this BL one-shot, The Little Bird Sleeps by the Sea. I really like this one. It has found family elements and foodie elements as well. The story follows this guy who, along with his recently orphaned nephew, moves to a coastal town to try to start a new life together. As they're both kind of thrown into this situation, he's a brand new guardian to him and wants to do things right for him while they're both in pain and healing. And they meet this guy who runs like a little bento shop where people can come and buy prepared foods. And he becomes a really important part of their lives, as well as the huge impact they have on his life. But this one just hit me with all the feels, and I felt like it just being a one-volume series. It was so gripping and had such a good plot. The characters all had complexity. And it's also by a mangaka that I really like, Yumi Noduki-sensei, who is the mangaka of my favorite BL series, Love Nest. So enjoyed this story and really like the art style as well. In June, I had two favorites. First, A Man and His Cat. This had been on my list to read for a while, and I finally got around to it when I saw that my library had this series in stock. And I think all I knew about the series was that it followed a guy and his new pet cat, but I didn't really know anything more than that. But I really enjoyed this one. It's a seinen slice of life series, but it has some really good messages in it around grief and healing. And I really love this guy's character arc through the series. He is a pianist who has recently lost his wife and is going through his grieving process while taking comfort in his new family member, as well as all the different past colleagues and friends and family members and his interactions with them through the volumes. I cried a lot through my read of this series, just how it would cut between his happy pet owner moments and then his moments of just breaking down and being in such pain. And then I was surprised that there was so much content in the series about music, which I loved as well. And then the other favorite June read was Kono Oto Tomare, Volume 32. I really love this series, but then especially the content in this volume was really exciting. I feel like the series is going to be coming to a close soon, and the content in this volume was really climactic, was a really important part of the story, like leading up through the whole series to this point, and then seeing how far all the characters have come. I really hope this one will get an English print release soon. It's a shonen high school club series with a focus on music, so it follows a group of students who are in their high school's Koto Club, and it really is a mix of different personalities, and the characters have to overcome a lot of differences and conflicts to be able to work together in the club, but then also to develop a passion for this traditional instrument. The art is gorgeous, and the character arcs are really moving and satisfying. And there is romance in it as well. It's not as romance forward as other like high school romance series. The focus is on music, but there is some slow burn romance throughout the series as well. Next is the manhwa series Dash. I read season 1 in July and I really enjoyed it. It's a BL manhwa Omegaverse series, and it follows two swimmers, one who quit swimming years ago, and the other who became a pro swimmer, who then their paths cross years later. There is a bit of an age gap between the characters. in the flashbacks, one is like a late teen, I believe, and the other one is like a preteen. But then after they separate, they don't re-encounter until they're both in their 20s. But season 2 just started again, and I'm looking forward to getting back into this series. And then another July favorite was Tokyo Ghoul and Tokyo Ghoul Re. This was one that I read on the Shonen Jump app as well as with copies from my library. But I binged Tokyo Ghoul and then continued into Re right after, and I was surprised how much I enjoyed it. I thought it was going to be too gory and graphic for me, but I was just fine reading it because I found the plot interesting and had characters that I liked. Uta was my favorite character through the whole series, and then Renji was my next favorite character. I love the progression of their relationship through both series, and especially toward the end of this series when they kind of face each other. But as far as the plot of the story, it follows ghouls that live among humans, and kind of from both sides, the injustices that both the ghouls face and the humans face, as well as the prejudice and fears that they have of each other, which I found very interesting. For August, there were 2 reads that I really enjoyed. First was Sheltering Eaves Volume 4. So this is a josei series that follows 2 orphans who are raised together in a children's home. And the focus of the series is on the challenges they face in their late teens when they're going to be leaving the children's home and have to go out into the world on their own. I was really surprised by Volume 4 because I thought most of the series was going to follow them in their teens, maybe in high school. But by Volume 4, they were already adults and having to make really important decisions. This is the same mangaka that did Perfect World, which I really like. And even though it's a completely different type of story, and the characters are so different than the characters in Perfect World, it has a similar tone with the challenges that the characters face just being really emotion-evoking. And through to Volume 4, I cried through several of the volumes just because of the struggles that the characters were having. But it's been such a good read, and I'm looking forward to reading more of it. My other favorite April read was Mars. I was wanting to read this series before the deluxe release so I could decide if I wanted to add it to my collection. And fortunately, my library system did have the volumes, so I was able to do a binge of it with the library books, and I enjoyed it. So Mars follows 2 high schoolers that both have a lot of baggage, a lot of trauma that they've dealt with in their lives, but they are so different from each other. One is really outgoing and always has a smile on his face. He enjoys motorcycle racing and is a bit promiscuous. And then on the other hand, the female lead is really introverted and gloomy and quiet and is bullied a bit because of her lack of interpersonal skills. So they seem like such opposites, but then they are able to develop a friendship that then turns into a deeper relationship. The female lead is a bit of a damsel in distress through parts of the story, but I appreciated that she does find her strength as the series goes and is not just entirely dependent on the male lead. But I'm really excited to see more about the deluxe edition that's going to be releasing soon. I don't think that Kodansha has shown any images of what the omnibus volumes are going to look like yet. For September, my favorite read of the month was See You in My 19th Life. This was another one that I binged. I read all the physical volumes that had released, and then I continued digitally because it had kind of left off at a cliffhanger, but it was already complete on Webtoon, so had to finish it. But the story follows this woman who is in her 19th life, and with every life that she lives, she remembers all her previous lives. The story actually starts in her 18th life when she meets someone who is really important to her. So then when she dies and starts her 19th life, she's determined to reconnect with this person, and then a bit of a mystery plot unfolds partway through. So I found the plot really interesting through the whole story. And it's pretty satisfying too that as the story goes, things are resolved and then the story continues, and then it's not just the one plot point from volume 1 that continues through the whole series. But I really enjoyed the read. I really liked both of the main characters a lot. So the print release is still continuing. I think volume 8 just released or is about to release. So I'm just going to be picking up the volumes until the print release finishes, but I really enjoyed this series. My favorite read in October was Marriage of Convenience. I went into this one blind. I didn't know anything about it, and it was so funny. I really enjoyed volume 1. I really liked the characters, the main characters, but the side characters as well. And this was one too that I enjoyed so much after the first volume that I then continued with the digital read after I finished this and binged through to the end and really loved the story. I liked the main characters from volume 1, but then as the story goes, I liked them so much more with every volume. But the premise of this series is basically this girl here is part of a political marriage, and as a child, she is married off to this man who basically, after marrying her, does not have anything to do with her for years because she is a child. She has a terrible personality and a terrible relationship with her husband, and in that life, her husband dies and she's abruptly cast out and dies in poverty. But then the series starts with her waking up in her 18-year-old body with the memories of that life, and now she's determined to secure a future for herself so that she won't be put in that situation again. And I loved it so much. She's a really strong female lead, and as she's trying to kind of have a good rapport with her husband this time around, I really love the dynamic that they have, and just his character in general. He's such a lovable character. But this one too, I'm just going to be collecting the physicals, and then we'll probably wait to do another reread of it until the print release finishes. My favorite read of November was In These Words. I did a little binge of volumes 1 through 4 of this BL series, and I really liked the characters and really liked the story. It has a lot of dark and triggering themes, so definitely check the trigger warnings before getting into this, but the premise is that a forensic psychiatrist is brought in by the Tokyo Police Department to help them to lure out a serial killer who has just been elusive as he continues to leave bodies in a trail behind him. The first volume was really hard to get through because of the sexual violence and physical and emotional pain and humiliation the main character goes through. But the plot is so good as the story continues, kind of unraveling the mind of the serial killer. But the series is ongoing, so now that I'm caught up, I'm just waiting impatiently for Volume 5 to release. But there are a lot of spin-off stories and prequel content that has been released as doujinshi, so I have been diving into that in the meantime while I'm waiting for the series to continue. And then lastly, for December, this manhwa series, In Cold Love. This was such a surprise. I loved this so much. I didn't really know much going into it. I saw someone post about it on Instagram and I just liked the art. But as I got into it, I really liked both of the main characters, and the plotline was really moving to the depth of love that the characters had for each other. So the series starts with a salaryman who is grieving over the death of his superior, who is also his unrequited love. And on his way home one day, his boss appears before him alive, but looking ill, and then approaches him and turns into a snake. So then he takes him home in his snake form and is not really sure what is going on or what he should do, but is just relieved that his boss might actually be alive still. But this one does have some themes as the series goes with reincarnation and fate, and I just thought the romance was really beautiful and the art is gorgeous. I'm really happy that I found out about this series because I had not heard about it until the day that I decided to read it. And now that I have read it, I'm hoping that it will get an English print release at some point so that I can have it in my collection. So, 2025, January through December, these were my favorite reads for manga and manhwa. Were any of these titles series that you also like, or maybe titles that are on your TBR for 2026? Let me know in the comments. And then I will have another video out soon with my favorite 2025 reads for novels. So don't forget to check that out if you're interested in Danmei, KR novels, light novels, Japanese BL novels. So I'll see you in that next video. Thanks for watching!